next. I gotta get it back. I don't really like the flex, but I don't care about the tag. Shit, yeah, I'm up in my bag. Chillin' and I got the mag. Yeah, they call me whiskey, cause I ball like I'm on the Mavs. Whoa, my niggas be wildin', but we willin'. Y'all niggas be hatin', but we chillin'.
Yeah. So we back again. His side, her side, and the truth podcast. Back again.
Back for another one.
LV. Like I said before, I ain't the best, but I ain't far from it.
Here you
a lot
go.
of things you want to do, I probably done it. My man right here, Pharaoh.
Mel Pharaoh. Really don't have an introduction. I've seen a lot. Feel I'm a guru. You'll learn.
All right. Moving down the line, got Allie.
Hola.
That's it. That's what we doing.
That's all you got?
You know I got a lot to say when we bring up the topic.
That's what I like to hear.
Spicy.
And last but not least,
Your girl Key is back.
all right.
in the
so
building.
We back. Let's show some love in the building.
With the revamp.
Right. Before we even get started, do remember to like, comment, share, subscribe.
Our
Hit that
Instagrams
button
is up
right
top.
there. Do follow us on the gram. We all public. So today's conversation from what you want to get into, my boy?
We should touch up on emotion versus logic.
When you say emotion versus logic, because that
I
could
feel
go
like
a
that's
lot
pointing
of
I feel like
different
they
ways.
try to say the
I feel
females
like that's
are
pointing at
emotion.
us a little bit.
Wow. Let me get
I'm
it
feeling
out.
the type of way.
Let me get it out unless you feel guilty.
I'm feeling the type of
'Cause
way.
what you're doing right now is kind of already
Not.
proving my point.
Explain
And I'm
yourself.
just itching to.
Explain
Go ahead,
yourself.
All right, so when I thought about, logic versus emotion, I thought when it comes to certain situations, let's just say like an accusatory situation or I make a statement. I'm going to say I make this statement because my logic is going to come with facts, timestamp, proof, cameras, everything that's going to say, hey, I saw you take that umbrella over there in the
Timestamp
corner
camera? I
at
got you.
3:32 on Sunday versus a woman might say, well, I feel like you're a thief because, I don't know, I just feel like you're a thief.
Can I go now?
Are you
wanna
throwing
talk-
shots
you
at the
wanna
women's
talk about-
intuition?
Let's talk about timestamps.
That
Women
women's
are
intuition
the-
shit is a
women
gut feeling.
Are
That
the
is not
queen
true.
of women are the queen of screenshots, investigations. Trust me, we've done them.
We know.
We don't sit there and make an accusation without proof. Yes, we might be upset. Yes, we might overreact a little, but don't think that we do it without having proof. Women are investigators. Don't think we just do it because you know what? Let me put my finger in the air. I feel like he's cheating. No.
The woman's
No.
intuition leads to the research that we
The
do.
woman's gut feeling, you said what?
It leads to the research, and I've never been
Gut
wrong.
feeling, okay.
Y'all agree with that?
I've never been wrong.
The intuition is pretty strong.
I've never
Their
been wrong.
gut feeling. Okay.
Don't get me
Women aren't
into a
the only
story
people
time.
Have you ever been accused of something and a woman came to you without proof?
Yes.
Without nothing.
I
did
shut
you-
it down.
Or did you think it wasn't enough proof?
It's not enough of your opinion, your feeling, and the facts are not there. It's one thing you could be like, LV, I feel like, I don't know, LV, I feel like you're too emotional, right? Now, it's one thing if I admit to you that I'm emotional. But if I don't, and you come to me and say, I feel like, that feel right there is already the emotion factor. If you come and say, I feel like you're emotional, you now have to prove to me why you feel like I'm an emotion. Why I'm
Okay.
emotional. What did I display to you? What did I say? What did I do?
Just say that you disagree with her. That's
Right.
all. That's all it is. It's just a disagreement.
If I
It's
say-
not. It's
You
not
can
her
agree to
not
disagree.
being logical. It could just be like, just like if a female say, you know what, she's talking to a guy and she's like, you know what, I feel like you're acting different. You're acting funny, right? And she starts.
And I'm
in
gonna
her
say,
and
why
then-
do you feel that
and
way?
then she start listening to ABC, and you say it's not like that. Maybe I was just busy, or she say like, oh, we don't hang out as much no more. You don't call me as much anymore. Now, granted, she's not saying that you're dealing with somebody else. She's not giving you proof that she's dealing
She's
with somebody
just
else.
saying you're acting
But she's
different.
just saying that she feels the vibe is off. And men say it all the time too, that they feel like a woman's vibe might be off.
And
but
I'm
she's
gonna
acting
tell you
different
why.
too.
I'm gonna say, yo, I called you twice yesterday. You didn't ignore my shit, but I saw you posting on the gram. I'm just saying, for example,
Men do
right?
the same thing.
right? I don't know what mom do, right? But I'm gonna give
But
you
you
an
a
example.
mom.
I'm gonna give you an example, right? Let's just say, for example, I come to you with something, right? Or a matter of fact, women, I feel like women have a million quotes in their phone ready to post when they feel like their man ain't do something and it relates. Boom, you drop the quote. You drop a meme, right? Or women, a lot of times, 100 times a day, they'll say, niggas ain't shit, niggas ain't shit, niggas ain't shit, right? A man not gonna come to you and say, oh, if you feel like niggas ain't shit, go eat some pussy. Or go date a woman. Or, are you gay? You don't like women? I mean, you don't like men, you like women? Something like that. Versus if a man says something like, yo, like, why do girls always do such and such and such? Instead of you addressing and asking me, well, why do you feel like women do such and such and giving me the chance to explain to you, you will now come and say something like, are you gay? If you hate women, just say that. Why you don't like women? Oh, you hate the black queen. Like what? Like
Because
that has nothing to do with
No,
what
it's
I
not
just
even
said.
that. There's a difference
Address
from
and
you.
let's have a conversation.
There's a difference from you making a statement or you feeling some type of way and you're voicing your opinion versus you bashing. If you're constantly bashing women, I'm gonna be like, what's wrong with you? You want to date a man or something?
But okay, so you,
So I have a
that's
question.
what I'm saying right there.
I
That's what
never
I'm saying
said
right
that.
there.
I have
I've
a
never
question.
said that.
I have a question.
Go
Oh,
ahead.
you got women problems over
And
there?
this is exactly what I'm
Because-
saying.
because look
you
at
did
what
not
you're-
address what I'm saying.
What
You
you're
went
talking
straight
about
to
this.
go and say, which could come off to somebody as an attack. Why not ask me, right? Why do I feel like women do such and such and such versus
But why?
you must not like women, nigga?
No,
But why
all
are you
I said is
bashing?
that are you
That's
having
not a
women?
bash
All
if
I'm
I
saying
feel
is
some
that
type
you're
of way.
having women problems. But my thing is, why does emotion versus logic have to be man versus women? Because you have men who react off of emotion over logic. Like if you, it's times I've had arguments with a person on a date, and I'll be like, you absolutely make no sense. You're just upset for no reason.
In regards to what? Like, if
Like-
you can give an example.
For example, let's say someone. All right, so I had posted something on Instagram, right? I had posted. I was at a party and like it's a guy in my video. It's a whole bunch of females and one guy that I know. And instead of asking who's the guy, it's just you posted another guy. That's disrespectful. Instead of asking like who was this person, if you would have asked who it was, instead of reacting over your emotions and asking logically,
ego.
you would have known that this person I've known for 15 plus years is like my brother. Right? But the man is emotional because now it's just another man there. Right? That ego is making him emotional, and instead of logically asking the question before getting upset, they go straight to that. So men do it just as well as women. So don't make it seem like it's a man versus woman.
Correct. She's
Very
correct.
true.
She's correct.
What you
Very
feel
true.
like, bro?
Yeah, she's correct. As far as emotion, it's even scale. Men are emotional too. The difference is women are a little more vocal when they're emotional. We just sort of lash out because we never really learned how to vocalize our emotions. So it looks different for us. Overall, in many situations, I feel like when women are accusing men on things, they do their research first.
Hello.
Or they just may know your background of what you've done in the past, so no, I'm not saying women are always right, but they always have some sort of gut feeling. Anytime a woman has ever came to me about something, usually she was wrong, but she was close. And I'm like,
Oh.
How she know that?
how she I'm not, and you know what I'm saying? That's because they have that feeling. And, yeah, men get emotional.
I read an article earlier this week about men are emotional, yes, but we bottle things up inside because we're
Definitely.
afraid how society might make us look soft for expressing our emotions or what's on our mind.
That's true.
So
That's
we
definitely
hold certain
That's
things in, and then when we finally decide to let it out, it becomes off as anger versus me finally just getting a chance to vent.
Right.
That's definitely true because I seen a meme like maybe like last week, and it was a meme and it had a picture of like Will Smith, Tyrese. I forgot who else was on the meme, and basically
Tyrese, Will Smith, and
I saw it.
And I did, yeah.
and they
did
basically
laugh at
and they basically like,
Kanye.
and society
Right.
bashed them because basically they got emotional in the public eye, right?
society
And then
teaches.
society bashed them and then made memes about them and basically made them look like they were stupid for even
Or making
sharing
a
their
joke out
emotions,
of their
making a
mental
joke.
health. Yeah.
making a joke out of it. So you're definitely right about society definitely bashes them. But you also have to think about if you ever look at stories in the news and stuff like that, or even situations like let's say a man cheats on a woman, right? That a lot of times the women forgives them, right? And the men expect their women to forgive them and expect.
It's not expect.
All right. Well,
It's
they hope. They
They
hope
hope
their
their
woman.
woman
They
forgives
hope
them.
their woman forgives them, right? They fight to get their woman back, right? And once they get their woman back, sometimes they do it again. But let a woman step out on a man.
Lord Jesus.
There is no hope. It is complete ties. It's cut. Like a man cannot handle that. But a woman who you think is the emotional creature, right? Handles her. Puts her big girl pants on, and she still has to do what she got to do. But a man, it's okay for him to say, you know what, you snitched. Let me go be sad, but nobody got to know, and I don't have to do anything. But a woman is still expected to do everything she got to do
Hold it down.
while still being
I
heartbroken.
hate that. Hold it down. I've had an ex of mine.
You gotta talk about this hold it down term. Go ahead.
I've had an ex of mine, long time ago. Long time ago.
I wonder which one this
Cheated.
was.
We ain't even gonna get into that. Long time ago. Literally told me this man cheated the entire relationship, and we were like together for some years. I'm talking about 7, 8+ years. So we were together for a little minute. Literally told me when I cheated back. I'm not saying there's a good or a bad thing about cheating back, but when I cheated back, told me I could fuck 100 bitches and it still won't amount to what you did with that one guy. And
Yo, low key.
I was flabbergasted.
She's a
I
hundred.
was
She's a hundred. She's a hundred.
Yeah, that's
Yo,
fast.
I was flabbergasted. First of all, one, the audacity to say that to my face, and two,
Oh, so
it's
your
like
face wasn't even through
it
text?
was to my face, and I'm like,
I ain't gonna
y'all
hold you.
are really on a different fucking planet.
I ain't
like,
gonna hold you. It sounds very what's the word? Contradiction.
it's definitely.
But at the same time, it kind of makes sense.
Yo,
Why
I'ma
does
tell you
it
why.
make sense? Why does
I'm
it
gonna tell you
does
why.
that make
First of all,
sense?
cheating across the border is
It's
wrong.
wrong.
It's
Let me
wrong.
just throw that
It's
out.
wrong.
I'm not justifying it. But now, when it comes to cheating, which we could probably have this conversation another day, I'm just say this thing. If y'all want to say something, whatever. Man, we gonna get the pussy because you threw it at me. It's free. All I had to do was buy you a little Patron Margarita, Casamigos, whatever y'all like nowadays. Maybe a little hookah, and we good. But women are gonna cheat and get that one man because y'all probably felt like he was doing something that y'all nigga wasn't doing, and now you probably might get a little emotionally invested in that man that you cheated with.
But I've heard men
So a
say
nigga
they
gonna look
cheat.
at it like, oh, you must really like this nigga versus the 50, 100 girls that I've just fucked just because.
Oh, that
No,
just makes it
absolutely
okay.
not.
I
Absolutely
didn't say
not.
it makes it okay.
Absolutely not. Because I've heard men say that they cheated because they felt like they wasn't getting something out of their relationship with the woman that they're with. And it can be, I felt like she wasn't holding it down at home. I felt like she wasn't cooking. I felt
9
like
times out of
she
10,
wasn't
nigga
having
might fuck
sex
because
with
it's
me.
free.
But you,
It's
it's
opportunity.
free.
It's
How is
opportunity.
it
It was
free?
an
But
opportunity.
do you know that it is, in my opinion, it is easier for a female to fuck a guy than it is for a guy to fuck a female.
I
I
agree.
Because at the
definitely
end of the
feel
day,
like
the
we
women
get
have to
more-
say, the women
We
have to
get
say
more
yes or
attention.
no.
I feel like
I
I feel
agree.
like
Yeah, the women have to
So,
say
That's
yes
the
or
so
no.
why does
Yeah,
why does
that's
it
the
have to
difference.
be that she has to have feelings for him to do it? Why can't it be like in that situation? All right,
I just wanted to get the energy off.
yo, I just want you know what
Energy
you
off
want to
of
keep
me.
cheating. What am I sitting here being faithful to you for? Not to say, like I said, we're not justifying
We're
cheating.
not
Right,
justifying
But
it.
in that moment, it's like if you want to keep cheating on me, and at this very moment, this guy is giving me a little bit of attention for this very moment. All right, cool, no matter what. But it doesn't mean I have feelings. I want to be with this person. Doesn't mean that anything else is there.
Let's just get to the audacity part.
She's still
Because
stuck with this.
this is okay, and I know it goes back to your male ego, your male pride, your male emotion. Why do you feel like we have to hold it down? Like we have to take
That term,
whatever
hold it down,
bullshit
you gotta-
you
you
throw
gotta break
our
that
way
down.
because
basically
we're
means
your
that we have to
woman.
take it.
I'm not your mother.
Because
I don't
to be
have
honest,
to accept what you throw
I feel
my
a lot
way.
of men
Are looking for mothers.
a lot of men, you know, didn't grow up with their fathers and stuff like that. So the women that they, you know, look for or idolize are, you know, visions of they, you know, sort of like their mothers.
Mm-hmm.
And they all looking for nurturing, more so than, you know, the team effort. They all looking for nurturing. And a lot of these men need, you know, therapy. And to be honest, a lot of men are gonna fall in the same cycle because of what they taught and the conversations that they have with their boys, and they all feel it's, you know, to be honest, they try to lock down a quiet woman and dabble in the streets. It's just a thing. It's just a thing that, you know, niggas in the streets do.
Is it a possibility that they look for, when you say quiet woman, they look for somebody that's a little more submissive, a little less aggressive, where she's not really going to talk back, or you're not really going to expect her to stand up for herself and leave?
Right, some men do that.
I
They
mean,
target it. Look,
I do think that men look for a female that is submissive, depending on what type of submissiveness. That's different. Like I've heard a man tell me that I'm single because I'm not submissive enough, right? and not in the sense of he liked the. Everybody knows me. I vocalize how I feel. I do not listen to anybody. That's just who I am. But I also am a woman where I feel like I want to do what I want to do, and I know that I can hold my own. Right? I know I don't need a man for anything. So I do things on my own. If I need something put together, I'm not calling a man to put a shelf together. I'm gonna put it together myself. Right? So he told me I was submissive in that sense that I don't let my guard down enough to sit there and say that this man is gonna hold it down for me,
Or that I need help.
or to say that I need help with something.
Right.
So yes, men are looking for submissive, but it just depends on what type of submissive.
And sometimes it goes to the way the woman was brought up. And she's brought up in a environment where she sees her mother or her aunts or they're taking care of things on their own and they're running a household on their own. That's what she knows she has
That's
to
her
do.
upbringing.
So
It's
therefore,
the same way.
it's the upbringing. Sometimes we feel like we don't need to ask a man for anything. We got it on ourselves. So I don't even want the rejection. I don't want the bullshit story when you can't come through. So I'm just going to take care of it on
Yeah,
my own.
it's definitely the upbringing. I've asked my mother that before, and I was like, why
Like
were you always harder on the girls compared to the boys? And she was like, you know what? I always wanted my daughters to be self-sufficient and not have to need anybody.
Not have
for
to depend on
anything.
anybody.
And so now I'm that woman that she wanted me to be, and now it is hard for me to sit there and say,
I need help.
I need help.
Let me ask y'all something.
And that's the type of women a lot of these men see. Their mothers was like that. Feeling for themselves, and so they're looking for women that feel for themselves.
But
they gotta learn that you gotta pitch in. You gotta pitch in, bro.
But that's the prime example of emotion versus logic. For somebody to say they need this, they want this, but they can't see that logically that they need help themselves.
Wait, I think I know where you're going, which is what I was about to ask. All right, so when I say logic versus emotion, I might say, the man might think with logic and the woman might think with emotion. I'm not saying women are dumb and they don't think without logic. That's not
Right.
what I'm saying. But now, if we're going according to that, how does a man adjust and try to understand a woman who moves with emotion, and how does a woman who moves with emotion try to understand a man that thinks off of bare logic, doesn't really express himself? How do they coincide? How do they get one another to end up being on the same page?
I think that takes a lot of communication and therapy.
Definitely.
I'm pro therapy, so, and I know now that I'm getting older, more mature, and I'm trying to have more mature relationships, I feel like for me, that's a part of my checklist when I meet my future husband. Like, I want you to be able to sit down and talk out your feelings, So I feel like in relationships, if you feel like your partner is holding things up or he's lashing out and, you can't get through to him, if that person is worth being with and worth putting the work in, then sometimes you may need a third person to come in and talk to you so you can see where you guys are butting heads or points are not getting across, because it's like there's a block up. So communication is definitely key. I feel like therapy is definitely key.
I definitely agree with the communication part. Me, go to therapy if you want, but I can't see myself sitting there. But I definitely do like communication. But then you have to know when to communicate, right? You cannot communicate with a person. You can't communicate when emotion is high. You have to know when to walk away at that moment and say, you know what, this is not the right time to have this conversation, right?
Somebody may take that as you dismissing their feelings.
No,
Right.
not saying dismissing their feelings. Like, you can definitely tell the person, I definitely understand, and we can have the conversation. But at the same time, when y'all all know, y'all all have conversations or arguments. When the emotion is high, how much communicating do you really get done?
Yeah,
Are you
you
listening? When emotions
You're not
are
listening.
when
No.
emotions are high, are you listening to this other person?
I do, and I'd rather talk about it at that moment in time rather than for you to walk
You
away.
are-
from
I don't
what
like
I'm
that.
you
talking
are
about. I
very-
don't like
I'm
that
different.
walking away from me shit.
I
because
don't.
feel like that's
I hate that
disrespectful.
walking away stuff. But at the same time, as I got older, because I've learned that my emotions and my temper, as I got older, I learned that I'm a little spicy. My mouth is a little reckless. So I've learned that in certain situations, even though I'm emotional about the situation or the other person's emotional, either we're gonna agree at that moment that we need to calm down and talk rationally. If we can't agree that we want to talk rationally at that moment, then that is not the time to have the conversation. But then that goes to the type of person that you're talking to. That goes to y'all actually being able to communicate and be like, you know what, I understand right now it's not the right time for you to talk about this. But again, everybody is their own person.
Everybody's different.
So everybody's different. So that's what I'm saying.
I feel many men in arguments. Let's speak about argument. And in an argument, you're gonna have to either be emotional or logical. And in many arguments, women, they speak with passion. And sometimes when they speak with emotion and passion, we almost don't hear you. It's like, she yelling at me.
Or you take it as an attack.
Right,
You
and,
take it
now,
as an
and
attack,
at this
yes.
point now we emotional and we not being logical because she yelling, but she's actually saying something, but it's just coming with a lot of passion and emotion, and that's usually where we fail. That's usually where arguments start.
In my
Yeah.
past,
Somebody-
I used to walk
Somebody
away.
loses the logical.
Yeah.
Somebody has to be logical in the conversation if both people are emotional.
In the
Yeah.
past, when I
They
felt
won't
like a man, for me, when I felt like a man's voice was getting loud or he was getting aggressive, whether he was right or wrong, I would hang up. I would hang up or I would just walk away. Because
That's
I
the
don't,
emotion.
me, I always felt like I'm not supposed to argue with a man. I'm not going back and forth with no man. That's just not, it's not me. So my partner would tell me, like, I felt like you were just dismissing what I was saying. And it's just like, no, I'm not gonna sit here with this screaming match. You getting loud and aggressive like that. I'm not gonna go back and forth with you because we're not gonna get anything accomplished. So I would hang up the phone or I would just walk away, and that's not necessarily the right thing to do neither.
It's not.
We had to learn how to come to a common ground when we can speak and actually be heard.
But you ever notice that after, let's say you have like a really big argument with your significant other, right? You have this big argument, screaming match, everything calms down, and then y'all finally discuss it, right? And then when y'all discuss it, y'all understand each other, right? Because now you're talking calmly. Emotions have calmed down. You're not in that moment, right? That's like if, I've done it before. If I seen like a guy I was dealing with some, I found out he's cheating on me or whatever. My emotions, yes, in that moment, my emotions made me act irrationally. Not gonna say what I did, but I acted irrationally,
Good
right?
word.
So in that moment, I wasn't trying to hear anything he had to say, whether or not I was wrong, right? Come to find out, it was something that was like old, but I thought it was new. So, but in that moment, I was acting irrationally. So once I calmed down and we was able to have that conversation, I was able to understand, like, yo, this wasn't even about, this was before you, like this, you just looking at it and now it looks like it's new, but it's not. And he had the proof to back it up. But in that moment, I was irrational. And that was the emotion. So you're absolutely
So
right.
you
with
had
that.
to use the logic and the facts and all of that to show you that your
Later
emotion
down
was
the
too-
line. But this is what I'm saying about the whole, you have to know when to sometimes have the conversation at a later time. Because emotions get in the way of listening to logic.
Correct.
It's all about knowing your partner because some people are not gonna have the patience.
Let me ask y'all this, right? Let's say you're dealing with somebody and he notices certain things about you, or you tell him, you as a woman tell him certain things about you, like, I'm this way because of such and such and such, right? Y'all end up getting into an argument or a situation further down the line, and he's like, yo, you always do this because you're emotionless, or like I called you the other day and I was trying to talk to you something and you dismissed me, or you wasn't paying any mind, and actually kind of gets on my nerves. Now, when he's telling you this and he's giving you the facts of something that you told him and experience that he's had with you, and he's backing it up with stuff that you told him. So he's using facts, which he might consider to be logic, right? He's telling you, like, yo, I feel this way because you did this. You also said this about yourself. You take it as he's throwing it in your face rather than for him to be backing up his argument of why he feels the way he does. So now you use your emotion and be like, you know what, you get on my motherfucking nerves, yada, 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 and you get upset and you're not hearing what he's telling you based off the facts of what you said versus his experiences,
I
which
think
were
it's
related
delivery.
to what of that thing.
I think it's going to be based on delivery, how he delivers it, because there's a way to throw something someone tells you and throw it in their face, and then there's a way of using it in a conversation to get this person to understand how you feel.
But for him, he's not saying it like he's trying to throw it in
But
your
this,
face.
but this
You
is
can
what
trigger
it,
like,
but
yo,
this is,
I'm
but this
I'm
what goes back to
backing
what
up what
Keita
I'm
said.
saying.
Know your partner, right?
You gotta
There's
know your
certain
partner.
things like, it's certain things like you have to know. Like if I say certain things to a certain person, I know that triggers them. Like I have to like deliver it differently, even though I don't mean it to throw it in their face, but I mean it in a way to like just have a conversation. But I know I can't say it in this way because I know my partner's gonna take it differently, and that's what it comes down to: knowing your partner and knowing how they will react to what you say and your delivery.
When you have any type of communication, you got to take things into consideration. Like, all right, your intent of what you're trying to say might be different than how they perceive it.
Yeah, I'm not saying just come out and
Yeah,
just
so
bluntly just
no, so your intentions might be you're just trying to inform her of your feelings, but she may perceive it as an attack.
Yes. And
Like,
you have
oh, you're trying to talk down on me, or oh, you're trying to bash me, or da 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 da. So you got to take you got to take that into consideration. Like, you have to have pretty much a mature conversation. Like, think about, sometimes you got to think before you speak, like, how's this really going to come off if I say this to Shorty? Because I already know her attitude, I know her triggers, like, let me find a way to tell her, not downplaying my feelings, but being able to express effectively how I'm feeling in hope that things will change.
And not everybody takes everything the same way. Like, I had to
Right.
learn that at work. People experience things differently, right?
Right.
So while you might think that this is something so minor, what you're saying is absolutely minor, and it doesn't, you're just, just saying it to prove a point. To her, or to this person, this might be like the biggest attack ever, right? She's experiencing it differently compared to how you are. So that's what you have to take into consideration when you're talking to a person as well.
Let me ask y'all something. I'm gonna ask respectively. Is there such thing as y'all think there's a nigga that's too emotional? And do you think that there's a such thing as women who think like they just too fucking smart? Like they think they're just so fucking smart, like they know it all.
So you're asking them, do they feel if there's men that's too emotional? Do I
How
feel there's
do
men?
they
come across
how do
it
they
as-
feel?
Do I feel women that's not emotional?
That's
or
they're
too
they're
logical?
they're not as emotional, but they just think like they know it all. They just fucking know it all.
Everything
They
is
always
black
gotta
and
come.
white.
Yeah. And how do y'all feel about men who y'all feel like, not to say like maybe they just don't know it all or they just move with logic, but they move there.
They
See,
move
y'all,
with
they're
emotion.
too emotional.
I
And what
dealt-
is too emotional?
I dealt with someone where in the beginning of the relationship, I felt like they would, at the time, I was saying like, you're nagging me, like you're complaining about every little thing, and this is just not even making sense. This is just your ego, like this, you're just going off of emotion, and this is not adding up. And then I realized like that's a poor way to communicate that to him, because there's not enough men that's like being emotional or communicating, period. So it's like there are men out there that are as emotional as we are, but I guess because sometimes we see it from a man, it comes off as too emotional, but we do the exact same thing. And it's like we're the exact same person.
y'all
And it
say-
seems
And
overwhelming.
y'all say I'm a woman. It's okay for me to do it, but not for
Not
you.
like we
No.
say you're a woman. I would never say that to
No.
anybody. Like, oh,
I'm not saying you call the guy a woman. I'm just saying if you feel like it's a man that's too emotional, you'll say something like, or a woman might say, "It's okay for me to be emotional because I'm a woman, but you're a man. Like man up."
No.
No. Those are things that's been said, but we're trying to break those barriers because that's not right. Like I feel like that's not
I
right.
don't-
But I've noticed it, and it's not that they're emotional. It's just they communicate like me, and it took me off guard. Versus dealing with men that will hold their emotions in and would deal with things differently. It took me off guard, so it took me a while to adjust to that type of person because he was just as vocal about every little thing as I was. So in the beginning of the relationship, when I noticed it, it was like, yo, this boy is annoying. Like he's
So you
complaining
didn't see
about everything.
you didn't see yourself in him.
At
Because
first,
if you felt like he was annoying,
yeah,
then-
that's it. I had to check myself. I'm like, damn, give me a chance to complain about some shit. You're complaining about everything.
Uh-huh.
But then it's like, damn, okay, I can see why men be like, yo, she's such a nag.
mm,
Because, not saying being emotional is supposed to be a woman thing. You just got to learn how to communicate both parties.
Now, Vanessa.
Go ahead.
Go ahead.
I mean, we're gonna go deep into it. I mean, it breaks down to like masculinity and femininity. We all have different levels of that in us. Some women have more masculinity and femininity in them than women. Some, you understand? You understand what I mean? And it boils down to that. So, intuition is universal. It's not just for women. Men have it as well. And I feel a lot of women do. Men that come off, with emotional, come off, questioning. They view them as emotional only because it's not seen in many men. A lot of men don't, a lot of men lack intuition, so
Yeah.
it's sort of black and white with things. And it all boils down to how much intuition you have, and what's your upbringing, what's your levels.
Can I just say this too?
Yeah, shoot.
To big up for our women. We are very emotional creatures, like biologically.
Yeah.
If you, and I've told this to somebody that I'm seeing now, if you look at me within a 30-day period, I go through a wave of emotions. Like, I don't know, of course it's our hormones, different times in the month, we're all over the place. Like, also take that into consideration. Like 1 week, I'm just so chipper and loving and PDA, then the next week it's just like, then 1 week it's just like, you're okay, then it's like, oh, I fuck with you.
Yeah, I've had
And
that.
it's like, I'm not trying to push you away, or like, I just want you to understand, like, some
So-
stuff is unexplainable.
but no,
For a
I've
couple
had-
days, and niggas just be like, oh, she's
But-
just gonna be a bitch today.
But that's
Let me
biological.
just
So,
accept it.
so men
Yeah,
don't
It's
say
the
that.
logical part
But
to
that's
that
men
is-
don't say that
it's
when
a
a girl's on their
biological
period.
thing too.
The logical part is
But
women.
men don't say that when a woman's when their girl's on their period. They be like, oh fuck, now I gotta go deal with her. She gonna be bitchy for the next.
It's
time.
about
you know,
knowing.
you know.
Yeah, but also you gotta think about it, right? Because I've had somebody tell me that recently too. They was like, yo, you be so happy, and next minute you be in such a funk, right? It happens. But then you gotta think about when you talk about, do we think that there's a man that's too emotional? I'm gonna be honest, yes, and not in the sense of, like how she said it, like he's just nagging about things. I've dealt with a person where I felt like they just got overly upset for the tiniest things. Like, for example, I would always give the example to him when he would get upset. I'm like, yo, I could say the sky is blue and you're ready to bite my head off, right? I could say, like, I think we got into a whole argument. Like, I got screamed at because I said, what do you want to eat for dinner? Right? And it turned into like a whole emotional argument. And my question was, what do you want to eat for dinner? And at that moment, I had to ask, like, are you on your period? It's definitely the wrong time
Right,
to
you
say
triggered
that.
him. I mean,
You
know.
triggered
It was
something.
Something, it was something
Definitely
probably
definitely
underlying.
triggered something
It
there.
was something underlying. You know,
It
something
definitely
you
was
feel.
the wrong time to trigger that, right? And I definitely understand that men do have what you do. Not that to say that men are too emotional sometimes, but men are just as moody as women.
Yeah,
'Cause
men can be
you'll
just
see
as
it on, you'll
emotional.
see
I'm
it
not
on
gonna
social
say-
media
yeah.
a lot nowadays where they be like, like female will be like, oh, women are the new niggas and niggas are the new
Men are just as
women.
moody as
Yeah,
women.
we're veering off, but I noticed that, like, a new wave of men are out here nowadays. Like, they want to be courted. They want us to chase them. They want us to slide in their
Niggas
DMs.
wanna be
Hold on, can I
courted or
can I
niggas
speak
wanna
on?
be appreciated?
Can I speak
Niggas
on that?
wanna
Can I
be
speak on that? Can I speak
courted,
on that?
like-
Can I speak on that?
Yeah,
As a
it's
man-
gonna vary
as a
something.
man-
yes,
as a
courted,
man-
like me, take you
Like
out
me,
on
pick
dates.
you up, take you up
Let me
on
speak,
a
let
date.
me speak, I
pay
got
for
you.
it.
You
Yes.
out.
Let me speak, let me
Yes,
speak.
pick
We
you
veering
up.
off
Let me
now.
speak,
No,
let me speak.
yeah, we're
Let me
veering
speak,
off,
let me
but
speak.
yes, I've had guys that want
It
to
does.
be courted.
I want to get into that. We need to
No,
talk
that's
about
that's a
bro.
further conversation. But yes, it does. Sometimes us men, you know, may see ourselves as the prize. And
You better know your self-worth.
if you're not up to par, why not just take? Why can't I get her to take me out to eat? The same way we
Right.
take women out to eat
Right.
all the time. You understand?
Right.
And so some of us kings, we see ourselves that way. Not all of us, but
Black kings,
that's
I
in the
love
way.
it.
You gotta
Like,
respect yourself. king.
Right,
Let's
like
eat.
This is
a
definitely a
nigga not
topic
supposed
for
to be
another
appreciated.
day.
Yeah,
That's a
Definitely gotta
topic for
do
another day.
time.
Yeah.
So let's bring it home here. Logic versus emotion. What now is the truth?
LB,
What?
you just emotional. That's the truth.
Further proving my point. Go ahead.
Everybody is emotional and logical. Everybody.
Yeah, it's not
People
a gender
either lead
thing.
with it. People either lead emotionally or lead logically. It could be based off their zodiac, their upbringing.
Oh, that's another
Everybody-
topic I want to get into.
Everybody is emotional.
Motherfucking
Yeah.
It's
zodiac.
logic. It just seems that women use more of it because of their intuition.
I
Yeah,
agree.
I think the truth is you just have to understand who you're communicating with in that moment because everybody is different. So what you might consider as being emotional, that person might consider as being logical.
Facts.
So you just have to, know who you're talking to.
Have the mature conversations.
My logic is, if you accuse me of something, you better come with a motherfucking fact. All right. So, at the end of the day, thank you for tuning in. Do remember to like, comment, share, subscribe. Once again, thank you to Ron, Pharaoh, Kia, Ali.
We did it
and,
again.
We here, man. Welcome back. This is the revamp. Appreciate you. Salute.
Salute.